A stormy scene from Highmark Stadium here in Pittsburgh as the USL Summer of Soccer rolls on. Tonight, Pittsburgh Riverhounds look to keep the undefeated streak alive against playoff contenders Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Alongside Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Philip Galati. Tonight's match presented by Allegheny Health Network, the official medical provider of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. Take a look at the standings coming into tonight. First, on the eastern side of things, Pittsburgh currently in 10th, undefeated in their last 6. Ricky, that's going to be key. They've been making that charge up the table.
I think if you're Bob Lilly, this game is going to be massive for your playoff hopes. A team that does not have the luxury to drop any points, especially here at home. Last time out against San Antonio, did everything well, but now you need to put the ball in the back of the net. I do think the first 10 to 15 minutes is going to be really important for the Riverhound side.
Meanwhile, a little bit of a different story on the other side of the coin in the West. Colorado Springs in place number 6, but coming off a big 4-1 loss to North Carolina.
A team that's been struggling on the road, only winning 2 of their matches away from Colorado Springs. So what does that reaction look like for James Chambers? I do think the wide parts of the field are going to be really important. How quickly can they get in a rhythm? That's going to be key for the visiting side.
As for tonight's player to watch, presented by Modelo, in midfield for the hosts, it's Robbie Mertz.
And I think he's going to play at the number 10 position, can beat you 1v1, can beat you through combination play. He needs to be the best player on the field for Bob Lilly if they have any hopes of keeping all 3 points here at Highmark Stadium.
Meanwhile, for the visitors, the man who needs no introduction, but we're going to talk about him anyways, Ronaldo Damas.
9 goals, 1 assist on the season. He's going to stay high. He's going to occupy the center backs and expect him to make a lot of runs down the channel and challenge for every 50-50 ball. The question for James Chambers and the Switchbacks is, what does the service look like into Ronaldo Damas, and how clinical can he be in front of net?
So the skies have started to clear here at Highmark Stadium. Just about time for this match to get underway. Gonna take a quick break first, but when we come back, the starting 11 for Pittsburgh and Colorado Springs, and of course, the first half kick. Gonna be a good one. We'll see you in just a little bit.
Looking amazing.
At AHN, we see you trying to be your absolute best. And when it feels like you lost your best along the way.
Okay.
We see you taking control.
Looks good. Prescription. It says here.
And needing the quickest care possible.
Let's go, let's go.
At AHN, we see you.
Ain't no better feeling than a cold one in my hand. That's why I'll be keeping Iron City in my plans. Oh, everywhere I roam, I'll be thinking about my home. Sitting pouring on the iron right before I go to rest. And when I'm laying in my bed, there's only one thing in my head. Just an ice cold can of Pittsburgh, PA's best.
Allie S. asks, how many devices can my Wi-Fi handle?
That's an easy one, Allie. The average home has more devices than ever.
But our gateways are engineered to handle hundreds.
So not only will they work today,
they'll also work tomorrow.
That's our new intern.
thanks, buddy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Power all your devices with fast, reliable Xfinity Internet for $30 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff.
Just about go time here from Highmark Stadium. Philip Galati joined by Ricky Lopez-Espin as we take a look at the lineups. Tonight's match presented by Allegheny Health Network. For the starting 11 for both of these sides, we've been talking a lot about what it was going to look like, especially for Pittsburgh, because they have so many attacking options.
I think we'd start in the back for the Bob Lilly side, a 4-back system, and then it comes into that middle 3, which might look like a diamond. Sample and Walter, you might look at that rotation, but Robbie Mertz, he's going to be the number 10 underneath of Kizza and Johnson. What does that work rate look like? Kizza will stay high, so you look for Johnson to really test this back line of the Switchbacks, but how compact can that back line be? That's going to be a top priority for the Riverhounds side here at home.
Meanwhile, for Colorado Springs, with 2 wing backs and then, of course, 3 up top, a lot of play concentrated down those channels.
I think that's going to be the point of emphasis for James Chambers. How good can Real and Santos be at picking and choosing their times, when to join the attack, but also when to drop down and do their defensive duties. Ronaldo Damas will push a little bit higher. Tejada will play underneath him. And Tariq McGee, how good can he be 1v1? And Rocha and Speedy Williams dictating tempo are going to be really important for here on the road.
So Pittsburgh on the left, in the black home kits, Colorado Springs on the right in the all-white away strip. One last check of the watch from the center official, Lorenzo Hernandez. 2 teams both looking to get back to attacking ways, capable of scoring lots of goals, but have had a hard time finding the back of the net in recent matches. That will have to change tonight.
Does seem like for Bob Lilly, Danny Griffin will actually play in the back as a center back, playing him next to Suber. So you have that 3-back system yet again for Bob Lilly. Blackstock will be the right wing back. Junior Etsu will be the left wing back. So something to keep an eye on. How comfortable can Danny Griffin be within that back 3?
Meanwhile, Colorado Springs, as touched on earlier, have that ability with so many players in the wide channels. Already trying to send a long ball over the top. The flag went up. Ronaldo Damas with early movement, causing problems just a little bit too soon.
Just a clever player. Likes to play up the blind side, so expect a lot of service into him. As for Danny Griffin, communication between him, Suber, and Alcimano is going to be really important to passing players off to deny Ronaldo Damas his 10th goal on this season.
Damas with double-digit scoring last year, 12 goals, 2 assists. Just 18 starts, though. Tonight marks number 21 in 2024. Settled on the far side. Sumanu has some real estate to explore. Already going to try and go direct. Settled with the back line once again. Colorado Springs pushing up. Just a bit of kick and run at the moment. Neither team really finding their tempo early on. So as for the keys to the game, brought to you by the premium light lager that embodies all things black and gold, IC Light. Ricky, curious to get your take on both of these sides.
We had the ability to speak with Bob Lilly after that San Antonio match. And he said, look, we just weren't good enough in front of goal. So how good can they be when those chances come to stick the ball in the back of the net? And as for the Switchbacks, it's consistency. You need consistency in the back, but also players higher up the field starting to express themselves. I do think discipline as well is going to be key for the visiting side.
It speaks to the character of this league when a team like Pittsburgh can go out and score 5 goals against Oakland, the next week score 3 against Hartford, and then blanked in their last 2. Almost 250 minutes the Riverhounds have gone without putting the ball in the back of the net. Blackstock turned over. Ronaldo Damas has some space, a lot of defenders to beat though. Help arriving to his left. Real sets it back to the top of the key. Pittsburgh starting to settle defensively a little bit. Now the threat of the counter has worn off. Danger still present though. At Real. All the way back. Johnson with a little bit of contact. Play goes on. Swing to the near side. Bit of a stumble from Pierre, but got on the end of it. Gets the 1-2. Tried for the nutmeg, no go. On that passage of play, Ricky, it seemed that there was a real counterattacking threat from Colorado Springs, but credit to the hosts for getting numbers back and forcing the ball back toward midfield.
You just look how dynamic that front three is for the Switchbacks. So every time they recover the ball, how quickly can they get out in transitional moments? So set defending for the Riverhounds is going to be key. You do not want to overextend yourself and leave yourself vulnerable going back the other way, especially with Ronaldo Damas and McGee higher up the field.
Whistle sounds for a simple foul. Again, a searching ball for Damas, who got there first. Second ball settled by the hosts and stamped forward. Johnson trying to get under it. Still tussling forward and loses out. McGee. Claus pass cut away. Well, got on the end of it. Now Johnson the other way. Stays on his feet. Trying to turn, goes down. Whistle stays silent.
Fantastic defending from Duke Lacroix. Not lunging in, moving his feet, and using his body to win the physical challenge between him and E.J. Johnson. It's a nice little battle that we have between a very dynamic number 9 and Johnson. I think he goes down far too easily. Fantastic defending by the veteran.
So the injury report coming into tonight, presented by Epic Insurance. Pittsburgh playing at full strength. Colorado Springs still without Steven Echeverria. Just over 400 minutes on the season for the forward. Thomas with the acrobatic flick, and it seems that every ball in the first 6 minutes or so is going right for number 9.
And we've seen Pierre playing this left-hand side, the ability to break lines with his passing, trying to play it into Ronaldo Damas, but how good can he be at holding up the ball? And what that'll do, that'll allow the players underneath him to support. For Bob Lilly's side, once this ball gets by you, especially in the center part of the field, you have to have the ability to double down and do your defensive duties.
Pittsburgh as well looking for that direct pass over the top. It's something that head coach Bob Lilly talked about in the midweek about how this team needs to be more aggressive. He said, we're going to go direct early on because we're going to try and put Colorado Springs on the back foot inside the first 15 minutes.
Just try to settle into the game. So now you need to get Kizza and Johnson on the ball a little bit more. Result of that, the back line for the Switchbacks will drop in. And that, as a result, you can get Robbie Mertz on the ball in those half pockets where he's so influential.
Kizza with space to turn and play the pass. Here's Mertz along the near side for Blackstock. Almost ran out of room, able to turn back, tee up a one-time strike. It stung the palms of Herrera. Bradley Sample charging onto it and gets the first corner.
Just talking about it, Philip. You get Kizza on the ball. Now he has the ability to bring in Robbie Mertz. You start on one side of the field, you end on the other with your wingback. But this is just composure, patience from Blackstock. Head up the whole way as this back line for the Switchbacks is retreating. Where's the space? Top of the 18-yard box. Good save from Herrera.
Mertz just swinging in, headed away at the near post. Damas with the clearance, and now the visitors get to step up a little bit. Sample now all the way back on the back line. Big switch, overcooked it a bit. Edward Kizza had a little bit of space though. More space afforded on the near side though. Real once again. Valence Pierre We'll restart with the throw-in. Still looking for help. Goes right to his number 9. Thomas trying still to settle, going down. Referee says no, sir. To the far side with Junior A2. Sumana showing short, looking long. Still surveying the scene and does go for that long switch toward Kizza. It's over his head again, but Edward Kizza on that far side, leading goal scorer for the Riverhounds. Given a little bit more green grass than at least I was expecting, Ricky.
He has the freedom to go and search the game, especially as he peels out wide. Now you're asking Jonathan to stay central, to occupy the 2 center backs. And that's something that if you're Bob Lilly, you want to see a little bit more of those two connecting. As those two players have shown that they can be real game changers for this home side here.
Kizza denied on the turn. Now again a long ball to the far side this time. Cut away at first. Both teams concentrating heavy play down the flanks. So in the first 10 minutes or so, Ricky, is it what you expected in terms of where players are on the pitch and how these teams are lining up?
I think we talked about it in the open as well. The wide parts of the field is always going to be key as you have the Riverhounds play with wingback system. And that's something that we talked to James Chambers about. How do you deal with the wingbacks in and out of possession? He says, look, we have to be clean with the ball when building out, understanding when to bypass that initial pressure. Watch out here.
Kizza making the run, stays with Johnson, back for Sample, one more time. Robbie Mertz plays it along, and the cutaway needed to be dealt with at the near post. Again, Langston Blackstock making that overlapping run.
We've seen this Riverhound side be their best when they change the point of attack, and yet again, it's Robbie Mertz at the thick of everything. Him and Blackstock have a very good relationship. As he slows this game down, now you afford the wingback to come around the corner to create an overload.
A2 into the box, stands it up, through everybody for now. All spending a lot of time in the air, the opening 11.5 minutes or so. Now Switchbacks going to try and settle play on the turf. Real dispossessed. Mertz to settle. He's got a lot of space, still checking his shoulder. Just has to lay it off. Just the one shot to speak of so far on target. Bradley Sample testing the keeper with single digits on the minute clock. There's a poor giveaway in midfield. Switchbacks could have numbers here. Work back to the top of the box. Good save at the first time of asking, and the rebound is put home. Tyreek McGee on the doorstep with a gift. Colorado Springs in front.
Talked about it earlier, how transitional this Switchback side can be at turning their defense into offense. And just watch the movement of Real as he continues this ball from Tejada. It's his first touch that takes about 2 players out of the game. Danny Griffin has no chance to recover. Good save from Eric Dick, but unable to pay it away from traffic. And as an attacking player, how opportunistic can you be at getting yourself in a dangerous area? McGee gets his second on the season, and more importantly, gives the Switchbacks the lead here in the 14th minute.
Well, you use the word opportunistic. Tyreek McGee embodies that. His other goal on the year came 2 weeks ago against Phoenix Rising. He was only on the pitch for 3 minutes, found the back of the net, gets his second start of the season tonight, and a second goal.
It's going to be frustrating once you concede if you're Bob Lilly, because you've had a lot of the ball through the first 14 minutes. But 2 instances, you've been sloppy. And it's gone back the other way. First, it's Ronaldo Damas who gets offside, and now you're down a goal in the blink of an eye. So now what does the reaction look like for the Riverhounds?
We talked about how Pittsburgh have been struggling to score goals, 2 scoreless draws, but the match before that, a 1-0 win against Sacramento Republic. It's the first goal they've conceded in now 4 matches. So if you're head coach Bob Lilley, do you make any adjustments to the game plan?
I think you continue to do what you've been doing. You've been so successful as of late, but now the next step in that progression is you need to be better higher up the field, more clinical, more decisive at trying to breaking in between the lines.
There is the man in charge for the hosts, Bob Lilley, searching for his 400th career win as a coach, and already barking out orders.
He's always coaching, Bob Lilley. Talk about the experience and the success that he's had at every stop of his coaching career. One thing that stays constant is that players understand, watch out here.
Maybe an opportunity for the equalizer. Body in the way of Johnson's strike. Just like that, nearly 1-1.
We talked about 2 players higher up the field. Johnson elects to challenge for the second one. There is a little bit of contact between Rocha that comes through the backside of Johnson. Would have been really harsh, in my opinion, to point to 12 yards out. But good action from the Riverhounds.
Stamped into the Pittsburgh sky. Thomas underneath it. Lost his eye on it. Curious, Ricky, to get your perspective as a player, just because there was so much rain. Obviously the weather delay in this one. Still raining a little bit here in Pittsburgh. Obviously that changes the surface of the turf, but does that change how you want to go forward?
I think we mentioned the word opportunistic, especially as an attacking player. You have to have the ability to follow up at every single shot, whether it is a spillage off the post. And for every single player on the field, your first touch is going to be everything. How clean can it be to set you up for success with your second action? Not easy to play on a synthetic surface, especially after it's been raining.
First touch for Delence-Pierre, wins a free kick. Speedy Williams standing over it. Man who started his senior career with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds U23 team a decade ago. Pittsburgh hold the 18, lofted delivery. Headed back down in front, and it was mishit. Juan Tejada had acres of space to take that.
Set pieces are really important, especially when you're on the road. The secondary action that comes back across for Tejada, and a player of that quality, expect him to be hitting the back of the net. It's a really good opportunity that goes to the wayside for the Switchbacks here.
Tejada just 1 goal to his name, that one coming all the way back on April 27th against Oakland. Santos from the throw. Pittsburgh bringing the pressure. Forced to reset to the near side. Pierre checking back. Allowed to run all the way through. Really, from the opening 17 and a half, 18 minutes or so, Pittsburgh have seen the lion's share of possession, the lion's share of momentum, really. But 1 poor pass in midfield, and it's 1-0.
We talked about, especially when you're getting deep into a season, fine margins. Sloppy turnover, you're going to get punished.
Mertz tried to play that same pass to Blackstock. Both players losing their footing. Out for a Riverhounds throw.
Highmark Stadium is a smoke-free and bake-free facility. For the safety and
It's been a lot of play down that far side for Kiza. Of course, the leading goal scorer for the hosts. Why not try to pick him out? But it seems like when they switch the point of attack, they've got a lot of space on the near side.
And they do it at speed as well.
Searching ball too strong. Griffin trying to settle it, and does. Nice turn to draw the foul.
Would not be surprised if we see Bob Lilly elect to have Danny Griffin push up into the middle part of the field, especially in the build-out phase. What that'll do, that'll create an overload. So now you're asking the switchbacks to be more narrow, and that's when you can exploit them with your wingbacks. Unable to break lines, especially Osumano and Suber. Everything has been horizontally or negative.
Griffin on it once again. Someone who's been overlooked almost his entire career, says his head coach Bob Lilly. There's the captain's armband now for Pittsburgh. Started almost every match this season. 3 goals to his name. Long ball up top, settled by Johnson. Mertz to swing it in, keeps it low. And Kizza with the creative touch, just didn't get the strength on it.
The first time that we've seen Osumano break a line with his passing, but it all comes down to the spacing of Robbie Mertz. As he's high and wide, he pulls out Pierre. And what that does, that opens up the passing lane for Johnson to make the run down the channel. Really clever and instinctual from Kizza, but just not enough pace to beat Herrera. Fantastic action from the Riverhound side.
You mentioned Robbie Mertz in the open as operating sort of a 10, that center midfield role. We've seen him play that pass to the near side, but instead it was him receiving that pass on the near side. Is that what's to be expected from him tonight in terms of positionally being able to kind of take up any blade of grass he wants?
I think one reason that you have Robbie Mertz on the field as a number 10 position, because he's really clever at understanding what types of runs and what type of player are needed higher up the field, especially whether it's him or making a selfless run, much like that. Opens up a passing lane for a secondary runner.
Thomas calling for it. That first touch letting him down. Had a lot of space. Johnson's header instead finds Tejada. Just about got it away. Colorado Springs trying to settle into shape here. Errant pass. Mertz with a check of the shoulder. Trying to play Kizza in space. He's got to run onto it. Numbers will arrive for Pittsburgh. Back out to the far side. Cross takes a deflection and comfortable in the end for Herrera. Into the 22nd minute here from Highmark Stadium. Alongside Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Philip Galani. 1-0 Colorado Springs over Pittsburgh. The goal coming really against the run of play for Tyreek McGee back in minute number 13.
One thing that if you are James Chambers, you just want to get on the ball a little bit more and take this thing out of the game. Whether it is Rocher, Speedy Williams, get the confidence within the side. Doesn't need to be Route 1 football every single time.
Switchbacks have not had scoring problems. They've been able to find the back of the net in almost every game, but the problem instead, talking to James Chambers earlier this week, was putting matches to bed. They can score 1, but can they score 2? Can they really put teams on the back foot in the first 20 minutes, in the first half?
The team that scored 28 times in this calendar season, but also conceded 27. That tells you the story right there. Yes, you can put games to bed with scoring multiple goals, but also defending. You need to be a lot better at your box defending.
Two with the tackle. Nothing on the near side. Griffin going the other way. Aggressive first touch in space to explore. A little bit of a slip from A2, but he got it away. Good run into the box, and the right foot of Bradley Sample didn't bring down the ball. There seems to be a good understanding, Ricky, of players for Pittsburgh running in behind, knowing their spaces, knowing when to try and break those lines. Just not connecting right now.
Yeah, it's been Sample, the one that's been making those runs out of midfield, and that's really difficult to track if you're a switchback side. Communication between Lacroix, Mahoney,
this year, and so
Speedy Williams, Aiden Rocha in front of them.
Camo got back
As the
into
player
the
gets
season
by
with
you,
something
you have to
Camo
continue to
goes
track
over
his run or passing him off.
Caddy topped with a perfectly
We
fried
saw
egg,
Riley
green
Sample almost get on the end of
chipotle,
one,
and pickles.
forcing a really good save from Christian Herrera.
And dive into our cheesesteak nachos, piled high with tender steak slices, gooey melted cheese, and all your favorite
Junior
toppings.
A2 with acres of real estate. Griffin checks in. One-touch passing forced all the way back to Walty. Looking back for it too. Difficult first touch. Went down hard. Whistle sounds, free kick. Koa Santos pleads his case. Referee's not going to change his mind.
Don't think James Chambers agrees with that call as well. Just no need. Nivercoa Santos, the ball's in the corner, move your feet. Make A2 play negative, your job is done, but as you become a little bit overzealous, you afford the Riverhounds to whip this ball in a really dangerous area. Nightmare for Herrera.
Basically a corner with just a little more run-up space.
If you're Robbie Mertz, you're aiming for right on top of that 6-yard box. Any sort of deflection, this ball can end up in the back of the net.
Sample showing short. Mertz thought about it, taking his time to swing this one in. He will play short. Mertz going down and results in a goal kick. Colorado Springs with a little bit of fortune, Pittsburgh not so much.
Yeah, you see Robbie Mertz's face, frustration. Deserves better.
James Chambers, the man in charge of Switchbacks. 9 wins so far, sitting at place number 6 in the West. Finished at 5th last season with 16 wins, 53 points. Man who's been with the club since 2021, now his 2nd season as the head man in charge. Sample's pass cut away. Good work from Switchbacks FC to get out of pressure. Real leaves it behind. Williams to the other side. Speedy Williams. Midfield starting to get congested. Line breaking pass on the near side. First time cut back. Eric Dick off his line quickly.
This is some ball from Duke Lacroix. Takes out 2 Riverhounds players, and then it's the understanding of Pierre. He needs to hit this first time to let Ronaldo Damas get on the end of it. A little bit more proactive movement from the number 9, and it's an easy tap in for a player of that quality. Dick reads it really well.
Herrera under some pressure. It's messy, but it got the job done. Christian Herrera, 10 clean sheets this season, already equaling his mark last season. Now headed all the way back to the other goalkeeper. A2. Curious, Ricky, to get your take on Colorado Springs just sitting back a little bit, not going for a lot of pressure. It's pretty much Damas on an island leading the charge.
And I think it's exactly what James Chambers wants, because the Riverhounds have been really sloppy in possession. Exhibit A, no pressure from Mosimano. He just puts it over the line. But you get that early goal, you're going to get all 11 players back and trying to frustrate the home side here. And when they recover the ball, how quickly can their first pass be forward? So now you're talking about the balance for Bob Lilly's side. Yes, you want to be expansive when you're in possession, but out of possession, you need to be able to cover, rotate, and deny transitional moments.
That may have come off of Blackstock last, and it did.
Remember that Highmark Stadium is a family-friendly environment. We ask that you enjoy yourself, but also do so in a responsible way that's considerate of those around you.
James Chambers having a conversation with the fourth official, James Dooling. Seemed like the right call off the goal kick. Forced all the way back. Langston Blackstock conceded the throw-in, gets to take it from the exact same spot. Again, that direct ball comes up empty the first time of asking. Blackstock playing a pass to no man in black.
I also think you need a little bit more movement from Walty and Sample in the center of the park.
Big interception. Blackstock stepping up. Mertz continuing his run. Space to work it into the back post and cleared away before charging Emmanuel Johnson could get there.
Really good ball in from Blackstock. Just watch the shape and the technical ability. That's a really difficult technique for Matt Mahoney as well. Over your right shoulder to continue on with the momentum. Puts that ball right where it needs to be, asking for Johnson or Edward Kizitz just to run onto it. No presence on the back post whatsoever from the Riverhounds.
Malty forced all the way back. Now Colorado Springs going to try and bring a little bit of pressure. Good dribbling to get out of it. Griffin given space. Kizit turning, finding A2. Cleared it off the first defender, out for another Riverhounds corner.
Fans, get up and get loud. It's time for
Just a lot more fluidity for the Riverhounds when Danny Griffin pushes up higher up the field. So what that does, now you have Walty and Sample. They can push up a line higher to pin back Rocha and Williams, and that opens up passing lanes for players higher up the field. You be more expansive in nature. Really nice little tactical change from Bob Billy as his first half has progressed.
Mertz just swinging in. Good delivery right at the top of the six. Headed away for now. Kept in play on the near side, but nowhere to go. A2 just gives it right back. And then a stumble, and then a strike. And over the bar by some margin.
It's the wrong decision from Suber, the center back. Has his eyes wide open from about 30 yards out. Yeah, Blackstock making a really good run on this near side. Just a bit selfish in the end.
Sean Suber, someone whose play was praised earlier this week, speaking to Riverhounds headman Bob Lilly, about someone who's been growing very quickly. Worked his way into the lineup, wasn't in the 11 at the start of the year, and now a consistent starter, showing that kind of determination that they expect from these players. Well, that's a nasty one. Referee will have to stop it. Nothing malicious in that, just two players going to ground simultaneously. Of course, for any suspected upper body injury, referees are instructed to stop play immediately. Ricky, what do you think Bob Lilly's saying right now to Emmanuel Johnson?
We saw that first action when he made that run down the channel. You need to see a little bit more of that, because if you do not get the ball, Philip, what that will do, that will pull out a center back. And that can open up a gap for whether it is Edward Kiz or Robbie Mertz, and that is some outfit.
It's one way to beat the rain.
There you go. Superhero night here?
I don't know. For him.
But as Johnson will continue to make those runs and pulling out center backs, now you're asking for the player on the ball to bypass the first action and to bring in a secondary movement. When you play with two strikers higher up the field, that's always going to be the challenge for any manager. How do you get them on the same wavelength and opening up space for one another? Good to see Real and Robbie Mertz back on their own power. Bit of an awkward challenge moments ago between the two.
Lalo Simanu. Blackstock going long again. Johnson went down, got the pass away, and referee will bring it back.
When I talk about the movement between Sample and Walty, too many times Osimano's electing to play route one. It's just too predictable. So as they can get on the ball, now you can open up those gaps. Then you can play a little bit more direct. But as you continue just to pump balls into that front line, Pierre, Lacroix, Mahoney, and Santos are winning the initial challenges.
Curious to see, it was Manuel Johnson backing off on that, allowing Robbie Mertz to fight for it, and then Johnson getting the second ball rather than vice versa.
Just need to change your dimensions in between the lines. You do not want to have players occupying the same space if you're Bob Lilly.
In-swing delivery from Mertz. 12 yards away. Settled. Once again blocked. Once again, Bradley Sample trying his luck. Mertz tracking all the way back and putting enough pressure on to win the throw. But visible frustration from number 14. Into the 36th minute from Highmark Stadium. Still Tyreek McGee's 13th minute strike that separates these two sides. All the way to the far side. Bradley Sample with space to work it in. Not a good clearance, still bouncing around. Mertz trying to settle. Leaves it behind for Blackstock, who tries to give it right back to him. And it's all the way out of play.
Just a bit sloppy from Blackstock. Doing really well. The Riverhounds are getting themselves into that final third, but time after time it's just breaking down. Just has not been clean enough or clinical enough. Too much weight from Blackstock. If you connect that pass into Robbie Mertz's first touch, he can then take a positive touch to Christian Herrera.
Ricky, if you're Lynx and Blackstock getting that ball set up for you at the top of the box, do you hit that first time?
I think if you elect to shoot, you need to hit it first time. You do not have the luxury to take a setup touch and then you can pull the trigger. But if you also pass it first time, it needs to be into the feet of Robbie Mertz. You cannot lead him, not enough real estate.
So James Chambers trying to wind back the clock and get involved in the play. Referee Lorenzo Hernandez not having it. And there seems to be more words from the center official to be spoken. This time to Emmanuel Johnson. But you do love to see, as a referee, having a verbal control of the game and discouraging the use of yellow cards early on.
Just look at James Chambers on the bottom of your screen right here. Bit of
That's
frustration
awesome.
from the headman for the Switchbacks. He got clean contact on that.
That was nice. Good form and everything.
He was a goalkeeper back in his day. Christian Herrera should be taking notes from his headman.
Blackstock forced to back up a little bit. Deep throw. There were 3 white shirts around Robbie Mertz, who at 5'7" isn't the tallest guy on the pitch. Quick throw this time. And Mertz in space to take it down. Pass took a deflection. First time cross, not a good one. And then put right out of play. Osumanu. Searching for Sample. Down for Griffin. Seems that Colorado Springs doing a good job of forcing Pittsburgh back, but when they win the ball in their own defensive third, they almost give it right back.
Yeah, that first pass is going to be everything for James Chambers. Because as the Riverhounds are committing a lot of numbers forward, if you have the ability to pick up your head and find whether it is Damas, Tejada, or McGee, then you'll give them a lot of real estate to operate in.
Chance to reset the shape from the free kick. Lacroix looking for Damas, who goes down, and that's never going to be called. Now 2 white shirts pressing the ball. Poor clearance from the back, but it's one in midfield with a nice roulette turn from Johnson. Sample onto the second ball and poked away from him. Johnson left his feet to go into that challenge, and the referee will bring it back. It is, in fact, the first booking of the game for Emmanuel Johnson.
You do all the hard work if you are Emmanuel Johnson. You pull this thing out of the air, and then you try to overcomplicate it. If you just play simple into Robbie Mertz, then you go out the other way. And as you try to force it down into Edward Kizza, you start chasing and try to recover from your mistake. No need to go down, come through the backside. It's a secondary leg that catches Speedy Williams.
And there's not a ton of force in that, but still, to your point, doesn't really need to be making that challenge, especially when it's from behind like that. It could always get worse.
If you always come in from behind, you run the risk of seeing a card, and it's exactly what Lorenzo Hernandez does.
Osumanu searching for Mertz, headed straight up. Johnson lost the battle. Malty with a touch, and another from Sample. Just a bit of pinball in the middle here. Tejada still yet to be settled. Johnson tried to check to it. We go again skywards. It's an interesting bit of play. You're shaking your head.
Just want someone to get their foot on the ball and connect some passes. If you're James Chambers, you're happy. You're clogging this game up. You're getting it, taking the game away from the Riverhounds, not getting in any sort of rhythm. You have your early goal. At this point in the season, doesn't need to be pretty, just needs to be effective, especially when you're away from home.
Eric Dick calling everybody off. And the quick restart as well. Bounce pass for A2. Up for Johnson. First touch let him down. That is the life of a striker. You've got to wait for that pass with your back to goal. And if that first touch isn't good, it might be 3, 4, 5 minutes till you see it again. Blackstock with a good touch. He'll get it back from Mertz. Space for him to cut it back for Mertz again. Swiped at it too early. Wide of the mark.
Fantastic patience here from Robbie Mertz. The top priority now is to let Pierre step in, and when he does, that's when you play it into the path of Blackstock. But this cutback just needs to be on the ground. As you pop it up off the ground, it's a really difficult technique for Robbie Mertz to get his shoulders over this thing, to put it on target. If you just roll it into his path, then he can run onto it. It's those little fine margins when you get higher up the field that make a massive difference for the Riverhounds.
2 goals from him this season, his 20th professional goal back on July 27th against Loudoun United. Cross to the top of the key, over Damas, may fall for Real. And the shot through traffic, easy enough in the end. There was contact, Ricky, but not enough in it for a foul for the referee, and I'm assuming you agree.
I think it would have been really harsh to point to the spot from Lorenzo Hernandez. Blackstock get away with one. He gets away with one. His positioning is all off. far too wide, not connected whatsoever between him and Osumanu. Real comes in between. Fortunate enough, his first touch isn't the best from the Switchbacks winger.
Blackstock with some better positioning, and the first touch didn't match.
Just look at the spacing between the right center back and the right wing back, about 10 yards. Fortunate enough, Danny Griffin quickly to come across and close down the space. That is, if you are a wing back on the weak side, you need to be tucked in and about 5 yards between you and your secondary defender.
Thomas dispossessed, stays with Switchbacks, if only for a moment. Sample on it. Now Suber the other way, in the space for Junior A2. And the Frenchman finds someone. Plays the simple ball. Griffin. Sample with a nice touch, wanted it back. Also wanted a foul. A little bit of a tug on the jersey there. Play goes on. 45th minute nearly elapsed here from Highmark Stadium. There will be a minimum of 3 minutes added onto this first half. Ricky, you spoke on how James Chambers would be somewhat pleased with this first half performance. If you're Bob Lilly, searching for career win number 400, what are you saying in the locker room?
I think it's the same thing that we mentioned in the opening. Needs to be better in front of goal in that final third. Just a bit sloppy, not creative enough, been a bit too predictable. They've been their best when they're quick, when they're decisive, and they have their wing backs, especially Blackstock, coming around the corner, pumping the ball into a dangerous area.
Tyreek McGee, the goal scorer, back in the 13th minute, receiving some on-field attention.
As you take a look at the goal, how the Switchbacks got on the board first. Comes from a sloppy turnover from the Riverhounds, but this continuation of his run from Real and the presence to take that first touch to beat Danny Griffin. You create a little bit of separation as an attacking player, and then you're asking for McGee just to be in a dangerous area. Slow to react, Osumanu and Blackstock. Eric McGee gets the ball over the end line. Not pretty, but effective.
So into the 47th minute now of the minimum 3 added on. Lalo Sumanu. Colorado Springs just sitting in deep here, waiting for that halftime whistle. A2 for Griffin. Kiza lost it. Sumanu again. Blackstock again with a lot of space, trying to find Mertz. Those two have been connecting a lot in the first 45, just not that time around. Long throw for Johnson. Lost out once again. That first pass out of the back for Switchbacks settled, forced all the way back to Herrera. Allowed to roll all the way out by Aiden Rocha. And the visitors in no hurry to restart play. Delens-Pierre threw it into double coverage. Mertz got it away. Referee had a look and will now bring it back for the foul. Seemed like a pretty clear-cut foul, but again, officiating-wise, to be able to play advantage like that as a player, Ricky, I'm sure it's always what you want to see.
I think he's been really good, Lorenzo Hernandez. You mentioned it, Philip, earlier. having to control the game on the field, off the field. James Chambers have been giving our fourth official an earful the whole entire first half. He's done quite well for himself, the center referee.
Into minute 49 now. Walty, conscious of how little time is left, going to try and send this one in. Headed back out for Blackstock. To the top of the key. Walty opening up. Moves it along one more time for A2. Out for a corner. And it seems like Pittsburgh will have the... Griffin back toward the taker. Cut away. And that is how the first half will come to a close. It is Tyreek McGee's strike in the 13th minute that separates Pittsburgh and Colorado Springs. Ricky, your thoughts on the opening 45?
I think we'll start with Bob Lilly. It's frustration from his side, doing everything right, getting themselves into the final third. But now, what do you do once you're in the final third? That's going to be a talking point at the halftime break. And for James Chambers, job well done in that first half. You made it dirty, you made it ugly. You got 11 players behind the ball. You got your opening goal. But now, what does the first 10 to 15 minutes look like in this next 45? All to play for both of these managers.
So that does it for the first half. Just one goal between the sides. The score presented by 84 Lumber. Colorado Springs 1, Pittsburgh 0. We've got a lot to talk about during the break, and then of course after a little bit of that we will bring you the second half. Plenty to talk about here. We'll see you on the other side.
Happy 811 Day. Are you planting a tree or installing a new fence? Call 811 3 to 10 business days before you dig. It's your ticket to avoiding an underground utility catastrophe in your neighborhood. Safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time.
Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa.
Nice. A little salt, a little sweet.
And a little scratch.
Ah, the new big cash payout.
Top prizes of 500 grand.
You've been down this road before.
Let's just say I'm a road hog. Keep on scratching!
See, as for what the standings look like in the USL Championship, in the West, Colorado came into this match in 6th, currently in spot number 5, but getting really tight around that red line, Ricky.
I think when you look at this Western Conference, how tight it is, and you look at the top 4, that's where these teams want to be. They want to host a playoff, especially at Widener Field, how good the Switchbacks have been at home. That's going to be the point of emphasis for James Chambers, a team that's been struggling on the road, only winning 2 out of their games. What does it look like in this next 45 minutes? Big time moments for the Switchbacks here in Pittsburgh.
Meanwhile, on the eastern side of things, after finishing first in the East last season, Pittsburgh down in place number 10, but far from out.
We had the ability to speak with Bob Lilly, and he said, look, we do not have the luxury to drop points, especially at Highmark, where historically we've been really good. Now, big opportunity to this next 45 minutes to right their wrongs, to continue to push up higher up this playoff table. These 3 points are going to be massive for the playoff hopes.
4 of their 6 wins this season have come on home soil for the Riverhounds. They've got work to do in this second half. We've got more to talk about before the ball is rolling once again, so we will see you in just a little bit.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're
hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes, only want the best. Maybe riding every night, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
The numbers are brilliant here for Phoenix. Can they find their second one here? Drops it to Lasso. Lasso gives it a go. What is the Lasso?
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
After some stormy skies, the sun has now well and truly set here in Pittsburgh. 1-0 Colorado Springs over the hosts as we take a look at the news and notes around the USL. The Oakland Roots playing in the Oakland Coliseum.
But you look at what Lexington is going to bring into USL Championship. Now you have a natural rivalry between them and Lou City. Lou City, by the way, is up 1-0 against the Charleston Battery. And what that means for the Oakland Roots playing in the Oakland Coliseum, they've had fantastic support. That's going to be a sight in 2025.
As for the team of the week in USL Championship, you just mentioned Louisville City. Their man Wilson Harris highlighted leading the line. Alex Anderson to his left, Nick Markinich as well. Curious if there's any other names that jump out at you.
I think you look at this back three. Lucas Soffer getting an assist for El Paso Locomotive. We'll see them a little bit later against Orange County. Gaggi for the Oakland Roots. He's been really, really good. Patrick Hogan hasn't featured into this game, but he's been a standout player for the Riverhounds. And then you have Torres, who I think has been one of, if not the most exciting player in all of USL Championship. Came into Charleston Battery on an open trial, just showed up and said, I wanted to play. And now he signed the contract for Ben Pierman.
Awesome story. Speaking of awesome stories, the USL Super League is now underway. Carolina Ascent, DC Power currently in the 65th minute. Carolina selling out the game and leading 1-0 in minute 65. 8 teams featured. Lexington SC USL League One team, so too Spokane. They have a women's team competing in the league as well. A bunch of teams set to join the league next season and in coming seasons. Speaks to the overall growth of professional soccer, especially women's soccer in this country, as a long season that will continue all year long with plenty of action to see from those 8 sides. All right, another break here from Highmark Stadium. We come back, we're going to take a look at the first half highlights, the stats, and then it will be time for the ball to roll once again. See you soon.
At AHN, good heart care starts before you're just not feeling right. Before you say, it'll go away on its own. Before it doesn't. Because before an emergency, there's time to stop heart problems with a simple preventative heart check. At AHN, we see you.
We're not the universe's window company. We're not the world's window company. And we're not the nation's window company. Thermo Twin is Pittsburgh's window company.
Pittsburgh is our home. Check in with Thermo Twin. We are employee owned. Check in with Thermo Twin.
Check in now and get 25% off and 36-month interest-free financing.
Check in with Thermo
Thermo Twin.
I'm attorney Edgar Snyder. For over 40 years, you've watched me do my signature point on TV. But who am I pointing at?
He's pointing at someone who's been hurt in an accident.
Someone overwhelmed with paperwork.
Someone struggling with bills.
Someone who can't get answers.
Someone who can't get justice.
I'm pointing at my community, my neighbors, and letting them know we're here to help. So remember, there's never a fee unless we get money for you.
This halftime is presented to you by 84 Lumber. 45 down, 45 to go here in Pittsburgh. It is Colorado Springs with the 1-0 advantage. As to
is everything. Forces a really good save from Herrera, but we didn't see enough of this from the Riverhounds. Too many times it was a bit too predictable, playing Route 1, playing into central locations where there was a lot of bodies. And then you talk about how clean can you be in between lines for the Riverhounds. Bit sloppy here from Edward Kizzet, but look at Matt Real. He's the one who continues his run. And as an attacking player, your first touch is everything. He takes it positively. He takes out Danny Griffin out of the game. And now this is just a pure willingness from Tyreek McGee. He wants to beat Osimanu. He wants to beat Blacksock to get on the end of it. Not the prettiest of goals. You get yourself in a dangerous area, you will get rewarded. And that's how we walk into halftime. 1-0 up for the visiting side.
as for the stats, if there's something that jumps out to you, Ricky, what would it be?
I think you look at the possession. 54% for the home side, but now what do you do with this possession? How can you be more purposeful to putting this switchback back line under more pressure? And for James Chambers, I do think defensively, you've been really good. Will not be surprised if we see any one of these managers dip it to the bench and to bring in a different profile and personnel.
Speaking of the managers, we talked to head coach Bob Lilly earlier this week, and to your point, Pittsburgh with the slight edge in possession in this match. Last time out, a scoreless draw with San Antonio, they had 64% possession. So Coach Lilly told us we gotta be more aggressive. We gotta get out there and put the ball in a dangerous spot. And to your point, they've tried that with that direct play, but they haven't really found the results. So what changes? Well, Keziah Sterling for one. So I'm curious, Ricky, how do you think his individual play is going to affect how Pittsburgh builds up?
I think he gives you the ability to stretch the game as well. So look for him, much like Ronaldo Damas, to make those runs off the shoulder of the switchbacks player. And Bernardo Forbes has also came on the field. Kinkenny, a player that wants to get on the ball, that wants to dictate tempo, that wants to create for players around him. So two attack-minded subs for Bob Lilly. And like you said, Phil, they want them to be more aggressive to start the second half.
It will be Pittsburgh that will start the second half. They're seeing more possession, especially down that far side. They go to that far side once again with Langston Blackstock all the way out for an early corner.
Fans, get up and get loud. It's time for a Riverhounds corner kick.
4 corners on the night for Pittsburgh, none for Colorado Springs. It will be an outswing delivery this time. Right into the middle of the 6. Herrera punching it away. A2 on the volley. Didn't hit it cleanly. And Sterling's first touch off the bench yet to be made. Sterling replacing Edward Kizzet up top. Leading goal scorer for this Riverhounds side now on the bench. The man who had 13 last year and the year before for South Georgia Tormenta in USL League One. Johnson trying to turn out of pressure, defender going down, and won by Switchbacks.
It's going to be a bit of a like-for-like sub for Bob Lilly as well. Bernardo Forbes coming in for Robbie Mertz, so now you have a bit of a more of a pocket presence. He's going to stay central. He's not going to be a player that wants to run from sideline to sideline. So now you have more structure centrally between him, Sample, and Walty for the Riverhounds. On the other side for James Chambers, now defensively, Speedy Williams, Aiden Rocha. What does that balance look like at passing players off and understanding as one presses a little bit higher, the other one needs to provide coverage in front of your back line?
Talking to head coach James Chambers earlier this week, he spoke a lot on being consistent, especially with players from the back. And when you have two wide defenders, the expectation really is you're going to use those wing backs to progress down the channel, but they've gone more centrally with that long ball towards Ronaldo Damas.
100%, especially with how the Riverhounds like to play. They want to press high, they want to force turnovers, so relieving some of that pressure. And you look at Ronaldo Damas, a really good hold-up number 9, despite his size, uses his body extremely well.
A man who came through the FC Dallas Academy. Many great names in that program. Weston McKennie spending some time there. Ricardo Pepi, who played in USL. All the way out for another goal kick. Wow.
Don't think he's happy, Eric Dick.
Well, you want a goalkeeper to be the loudest man on the pitch, right? And lead from the back.
Talk about the intensity. Watch out, bad touch.
Pittsburgh trying to clean it up. Eric Dick going long once again. It's aggressive play, but they haven't been able to connect the lines. Now Switchbacks FC the other direction. First time cross deflected into midfield. Settled by Forbes. And asking a lot of Johnson on that pass.
As Edward Kizzer goes off the field as well, you lose a little bit of that link-up play. Both Johnson and Sterling, very similar in the way that they want to ride the line and be direct in nature. So now a bigger emphasis comes on Conrado Forbes to be that link-up play in between that midfield line and that front line.
Juan Tejada won the ball in a promising spot. It's been worked all the way back now. Pierre trying to take his space. Up towards Ronaldo Damas. Unselfish touch, but it's cut away by Walty. Good one-time passing, moving along here to the far side of the box. And denied by the flag. There is that sense that when Colorado Springs get the ball in a high area, they seem to play very quickly.
It's just so decisive. I mean, Damas, he's going to be the constant. He's always going to stay centrally. So now you're asking Tejada and Real just to express themselves, whether it's combination play, whether it's taking their individual defender 1v1. It's a really good run from Metu.
James Chambers, head coach of Switchbacks FC, told us this week the hardest part is going to be breaking Pittsburgh down. They've done just that here. If not for some excellent defending. All the way out for a goal kick. Jackson Walty tracking back. And already more encouragement from the Colorado Springs headman. Walty played his college ball just down the road at Pitt. Sends that ball a little bit too far down the road. Was a walk-on at that program, then became the all-time leader in minutes. Head coach Jay Vidovich, one of the top coaches in the college game for quite some time. Bob Lilly barking out orders, the winningest coach in American professional soccer. Osamanu had his hands full. Two defenders, rather forwards, to fight off, and he did just that. Lovely bit of play from Bradley Sample. The ball didn't match, and it will be brought back for the foul.
Bradley Sample and Jackson Walty, two players that have really impressed Bob Lilly in their maturation throughout this 2024 campaign. Very comfortable in the ball. Fantastic little run from Bradley Sample. There's about 3 players from the Switchbacks out of the game with the ball at his feet. A luxury to have if you're a midfielder.
Sample, who also played some ACC soccer with the Cards down in Louisville. Clipping it into the box again, behind Walty. Falls comfortably to Subert. Blackstock to settle. Forbes showing and receiving short. Playing Blackstock in behind. And out for another corner kick.
Fans, get on your feet and make some noise. It's time for a Riverhounds corner kick.
Gennaro Forbes to take it. Yet to register an assist this season. Former Rochester Rhinos man, playing under Bob Lilly up in New York. Cut back to a wide open shot at the top of the box. Griffin's shot parried away. 2 strikes and then a wonder goal. Jackson Walty with a rocket to the top right corner. Levels things at Highmark Stadium. What a strike from 42. And it's 1-1 in minute 54.
Really clever set piece here from Gennaro Forbes, understanding every single player in the Switchbacks. Back line is retreating towards our goal line, so where's the space? Not the best of clinic contact from Danny Griffin, but as the ball pops out, take a bow. Head down, laces through this thing. Roofs it from Walty. Draws even for the Riverhounds.
Head coach Bob Lilly earlier this week talked about being aggressive. The Riverhounds going forward time and time again. We're just missing that spark. It was gonna take something special, and something special it was.
Just asking for someone to produce a little bit of individual brilliance. Your center midfielder, Jackson Walty, just mentioned that he's been a player that's been impressive for Bob Lilly's side.
Now Johnson tried to play the give and go unselfishly. Heavy touch from the goal scorer, and a second.
And now the hope is for Bob Lilly that you can get some little bit of momentum and confidence from your side, especially higher up the field. It's a fantastic strike from Walty. Head down, laces through the ball, shoulders always over it. Not even a courtesy dive from Christian Herrera.
It breaks a nearly 300-minute-long scoring drought for Pittsburgh. After 2 scoreless draws, now level at 1 apiece on home soil. And they have 4 of their 6 wins on the season. Sterling gets it back. Tried to shimmy out of the challenge. Referee points to the ball and allows advantage to go. 2 arms up from Forbes, who's wide open. And that was always going to be a very difficult ball to find him. Bob Lilly in his 7th season in charge. Ricky, as you watch this second half, the adjustments for Pittsburgh, what stands out to you about how they're playing?
Just more intentional. The ball's moving a lot quicker. Just seems like they're playing at a bit of a different tempo and want it a little bit more. Too many times, especially in that first half, it seemed a little bit pedestrian-like, casual. Whatever that Bob Lilly said, you see how animated he is right now. Barking orders. Really struck a chord with his side to get a reaction, and they did in the first 10 minutes, drawing even here at home.
Bob Lilly earlier this week told us that the success has come down to trying and playing high up the pitch as often as possible, but that taking their chances is a part of the game they're working on. So too is recovering from early mistakes in a match, that this group is still maturing and growing as the final stretch of the season looms large. And that continued aggression, that adjustment after an early mistake is exactly what we've seen here tonight.
Now, if you're James Chambers, you're looking at this situation and you have to lean on the experienced players that you have centrally. Speedy Williams is a player that comes to mind that's seen it and has been very successful in USL Championship just to take the game away from the Riverhounds. Been mostly all one-way traffic since coming out of the break. So how do you afford your players to get more confidence as the second half progresses? The ball circulation, ball retention needs to be a little bit better from the visiting side.
Players that are a little more familiar with each other as well. 9 out of the 11 starters tonight, returning players. Matt Real and Aiden Rocha, the 2 new names this season for Switchbacks FC.
Splashdown number 18 for the season, brought to you by Surfside Vodka.
Sample. Seemed like he had the space to open up. Tried the line-breaking ball, now the other way. Tejada, check 2, didn't fool Danny Griffin.
And he's been really quiet, Juan Tejada. Only 1 goal on this season. A player that has the quality to be a game changer. How do you get him more influential? Really important for James Chambers, but you look at how deep this switchback side can be. Zach Zandy, Jairo Henriquez, Justin Dillon, who they just acquired from El Paso Locomotive, Link Foster, the list goes on. Watch out. Fantastic idea. But the list goes on and on for the switchbacks. So now man managing is going to be really important for James Chambers to get a reaction from his side.
Speaking of man management, it seems that there will be another substitution for the hosts. In a few minutes here. Babacar Dian set to enter the fray for his 20th appearance on the season. Tejada. Inviting ball forward for Santos, but he turns back instead. 60th minute from Pittsburgh. Level in the second half. Tyreek McGee's 13th minute strike canceled out in the 54th by Jackson Waltee. Philip Galani, Ricky Lopez-Espin with you. Goal scorer McGee gets it right back. Pittsburgh trying to step up. Now, Ricky, we're seeing those wing backs for Colorado Springs. Well, they were high up the pitch, but the ball goes out of play.
Which is really uncharacteristic from the switchbacks, as you see Bubbly making his 3rd change on the evening. Dean will come in, or Johnson, but now a different profile high up the field. Back to goal number 9, likes to invite pressure, so expect Sterling to make those runs in beyond. Those 2 players complement each other very well. Now, Dean and Sterling.
Johnson, the lone name in the book, now on the bench. Blackstock opening up space with the hips and the first touch. Strong ball for Dean, who will wait to get his. And now a change for the visitors. It is the goal scorer for Colorado Springs, Tyreek McGee, whose night is done. Zach Zandy, the Westchester native, into the match for Switchbacks FC.
That was exactly where James Chambers' head is at, making this attack-minded sub. Zach Zandy will play in as the true number 10. So now you will have Real Tejada running off of him. Ronaldo Dama spearheading the attack for the Switchbacks. A player that can beat you 1v1, can beat you through combination play. The Switchbacks organization extremely high on the high IQ of Zach Zandy.
He's got quite the resume to boot. Pennsylvania native, 2012 U17 Generation Adidas Cup champion with the Union Academy. Led Villanova to its first NCAA tournament appearance in program history before graduating and going back to Union's second team, and joined the Switchbacks in 2021. 12 goals for him last year. Looked like it may have came off the arm of Junior Etu, a former Tampa Bay Rowdies man. And Rocha will back it up. Rocha has played every minute of the last 5 matches. 1 assist on the season for him. Looping delivery. Thomas was up there, didn't get a definitive touch. Sandy will. Evades the pressure for now. Riverhounds gonna bring the heat. Another searching ball headed down into the box. And Ricky, now it seems Colorado Springs doing a good job of winning the ball back when they lose it.
Just seem a bit more comfortable now, the Switchbacks have. I don't think it's any coincidence that Speedy Williams has been more involved as well. Zach Zandy understanding the spacing in between that middle 3 for James Chambers, boys.
Coach Chambers told us earlier this week, the key for this side is capitalizing on chances. They had 1 in the first half, and they took that chance brilliantly. They haven't had a lot in the second half, but this is a team that knows how to put away its chances. It's kept in play just about from Griffin. Great turn and good ball. Sterling with the touch, and now cut away from Etu. Tejada. Towards Damas, flicked it along, and caught the second runner by surprise.
But it's the second time, Philip, that we've seen Blacksock just way out of position. If that ball goes into Real and he has a clean first touch, it's a 1v1 between him and Eric Dick. Something that if you are Bob Lilly, you're going to be very frustrated about the lack of positioning, the lack of understanding from your weak-sided wingback.
Cut to the front post, and comfortable in the end for Eric Dick.
It's defending 101. When the ball's on the opposite side of the field, you have to have the ability to tuck in.
After the final whistle, be sure to stay in your seats as we light up the sky with a pyrotechnic show presented by the Pittsburgh International Airport and Iceland Air. Pittsburgh International Airport flies non-stop to Iceland 4 days a week with Iceland Air. Book now
James
at
Chambers
icelandair.com.
encouraging his side that have done well, by his words, to put themselves in a decent position with 12 games to go. But he spoke on lamenting some chances when they haven't been as ruthless or as clinical as they should be. Pittsburgh have shown their ability to be ruthless. Coach Bob Lilly spoke on the need for aggression when they can put 5 past Oakland and then
Great
3
ball
against Hartford. And there's a physical challenge. Eric Dick got the ball first, and Ronaldo Damas in some discomfort.
Talk about the quality from Zach Zandy, the vision and the technical ability to bring out every single player in a Pittsburgh jersey. But give credit to Eric Dick, reads it extremely well, comes off his line very quickly and beats an oncoming Ronaldo Damas. Talked about the type of player that Ronaldo Damas is, will never shy away from a 50-50 duel, but that's going to leave a mark. Hopefully he is okay to continue on. No ill will whatsoever, just a bit unfortunate. You love to see that, 2 players exchanging pleasantries after.
We've been talking all night long about, again, aggression, that word that Coach Babula used, talking mostly about his forwards, but even his goalkeeper as well, not shying down from a challenge.
Being decisive as a goalkeeper is everything. Understanding if you come off your line, you have to be sure that you're going to make a play on the ball. Understanding that contact is coming from Ronaldo Damas, you stay your ground. Fantastic play from Eric Dick.
Hounds faithful trying to bring the noise. The flag now flying in a clear sky after the rain from the first half has subsided. '68th minute from Highmark Stadium. 1-1. It is the first visit in club history for Switchbacks FC to Pittsburgh. Teams met once last season, a 1-0 win for Colorado Springs that saw Pittsburgh finish the match with 9 men. A2. Keziah Sterling. Just able to thread the needle. A2 into the box, cutting it back. Nobody there. It looked like a surefire chance to make it 2-1.
I think one of the underrated parts of Keziah Sterling's game is to bring players into it. Fantastic underlapping run. Ametu. Positive first touch and has enough pace to get on the end of it, but now you're asking everyone as they crash that near post, someone needs to be the top of the 18-yard box, as if they do, it's a straight-on shot.
So a yellow card in that sequence of play. Juan Tejada, now the second name into the book, the only one on the pitch. Whistle sounding again. And the Pittsburgh fans voicing their displeasure, but it's been a very well-refereed game so far.
Very consistent from Lorenzo Hernandez. That's all you can ask for.
Curious to get your take on this, Ricky, as from a dead ball, you get your goalkeeper all the way up, and then with the wing backs, does it get congested in the channels there, just having so many players forward like that?
I think you need to fight for second balls as well. If you do elect to play into your front line, now the responsibility lies on Speedy Williams and Andy Rocha to make their presence felt.
Still bouncing around. Needed to just be stamped away in the end. James Chambers will make his second change as the Hounds bring the noise. Jonas Fieldberg will take the place of Aiden Rocha.
I think that will drop in Zach Zandy alongside Speedy Williams. Tejada will play centrally now. Fieldberg will play on this right-hand side. Play that wants the ball to his feet to look to combine with the players around him. It's a bit of a tactical change from James Chambers.
So now how does that change in terms of progression play? Switchbacks FC, how will they build from the back here?
Now you have Zach Zandy a little bit deeper. He's going to play right next to Speedy Williams. So consistent in terms of their spacing and their balance. And now you have Tejada, a player that's very mobile at that number 10 position. So look for him to make those runs out of midfield very difficult to track as the game progresses for the Riverhounds.
Headed out of play right in midfield. Tejada to settle and didn't get enough sauce on it. Whistle sounding again. Griffin, the skipper, to the near side for A2. The Frenchman shimmying onto his right. Unselfish play, swing and a miss, but still alive. Is this 2-1? It's off the post. Falls to Sample now, searching for shooting space. Walty to swing it in over the head of Forbes. And Fieldberg taking no chances. Griffin compounding the pressure. A2, back for Danny Griffin. Forbes with nowhere to go. And in the end, takes a deflection, a fortuitous one for Christian Herrera.
Starting to grow into confidence, but how good is this from Etsu? Inside out, and then into understanding to play into the path of Walty. As this ball rotates back across, Blackstock does everything right, just gets denied by that near post. But if you're Walty, that needs to be a left-footed strike. You just need to step into it better in terms of the body position, the natural movement of your body. You get your hips around it, you put it on target, you give yourself a chance. It's really difficult to let the ball come across and step into it. That's why he mishits it. But Blackstock has shown the ability to play right foot, to play left foot, and has Christian Herrera scrambling.
Get tickets now by visiting riverhounds.com or by calling the ticketing office at 412-865-GOAL.
Pittsburgh on a 6-game undefeated streak. 3 wins, 3 draws. Last 2 matches have been scoreless contests. All the way up now for Keziah Sterling. Closed down quickly and plays the ball ahead of the run. Junior A2. Both coaches spoke on the importance of 3 points here tonight. And Coach James Chambers for Switchbacks FC said a ruthless mentality is what they need. They've done well to get into 6th coming into tonight. Pittsburgh below that playoff line as of right now, but a team that is growing very quickly in the eyes of that man, Bob Lilly. Consistency in the attacking end, that's what he was looking for when he spoke to us earlier this week. And they found more of that in that second half. They've got to play some defense now, though. First corner of the night for Switchbacks. Coach Bob Lilly with some words for the 4th official. A man who has lost no passion, searching for career win number 400. Sandy's delivery toward Thomas, who got up for it and headed down well wide. Quick restart from the back. The in charging forward, running out of real estate, takes a heavy first touch, but he's going to get there. Does he win a corner? Yes, he does.
Fans, get loud and get that energy going. It's time for Riverhounds.
4,332 in attendance at Highmark Stadium tonight, bringing the noise for corner number 7. Swing delivery, outswing delivery rather, headed up and back down again. Walty. Sandy on the end of it. Griffin heading it along on the volley. Not a million miles away. Bradley Sample pleading for a corner kick, and the referee disagrees.
It's a really difficult technique here from Bradley Sample. Understanding this ball is dropping over your left shoulder. Ronaldo Damas is right there. The timing and the technical ability it takes to even get a clean contact on this thing. Look about the quality from the center midfielder for Bob Lilly's side. The question was there a little bit of a deflection? But him and Jackson Walty have been fantastic for the Riverhounds.
A double change for the visitors, most notably Justin Dillon getting his first minutes with his new side. Signed last week from El Paso. 3 goals, 2 assists for them, replacing Ronaldo Damas up top. Man who has a few MLS appearances with Seattle, also represented Tacoma Defiance and the LA Galaxy's second side. Jairo Henriquez as well will enter the fray. He replaces Juan Tejada. 2 attacking changes for head coach James Chambers. And Ricky, you're nodding your head.
And now you have Justin Dillon. Now he's going to be the target and the focal point to play off of for the Switchbacks. Completely different profile than Ronaldo Damas. And you're asking Jairo Henriquez to make those runs, whether it's a fight for second ball centrally or running beyond the big number 9. James Chambers thinks that there is something left in this game. More importantly, now Jairo Henriquez will play underneath Justin Dillon.
Luke Biassi as well into the match. Somebody who's started nearly every match this season, but missed most of training this week for a wedding. Gets his first touch of the ball tonight. Former Syracuse man, been a mainstay of this Riverhounds back line. Now the host going forward. Is that a foul? Referee says yes. And a yellow card to boot for Jonas Fieldberg, stopping a promising attack.
And we mentioned it through 79 minutes of this match, Philip. The Riverhounds are their best when they're quick and they're decisive to get their wingbacks involved. Junior Etsu has come alive in this second half. Now you're asking Fieldberg to do a lot of the dirty work. Backtracking over 20 yards, mistimed challenge. And now forwards, the Riverhounds, a really dangerous opportunity to ask questions of Christian Herrera.
Kenardo Forbes standing over it. He's got 1 goal this season. Sean Suber to his right, he has 1 as well. Danny Griffin facing them. It's laid off for Suber. And it was heroicism that blocked the shot. But at what cost?
Tune in on August 24th to Sportsnet Pittsburgh to watch your Pittsburgh Riverhounds take on Birmingham Legion at 7:30 p.m. Sportsnet Pittsburgh is an official broadcast partner.
Matt Real throwing himself in the way of that shot. It speaks to the level of intensity that these two sides bring when you're fighting for 3 points.
And these are the ones as a player that hurt the most. If you do not have your ankle locked when you run to attack this thing with the pace that Suber runs onto it.
'81st minute from Pittsburgh. 1-1. Colorado Springs got the first in the 13th minute. Good shot from Real, a good save, but the follow-up there for Tyreek McGee. And that was really the only chance for the visitors in that first half.
Against a run of play for sure, but look at this run from Suber as he continues his run. That opens up the space for Danny Griffin. Jackson Walter get the second bite at the apple, makes no mistake about the second one. It's a technical ability. Notice how quickly he gets his feet underneath him. One step into it, head down is the key to keep it underneath the crossbar. 1-1, 82nd minute.
Someone who's worked his way into the lineup in the latter half of the season, now a consistent starter. What a way to get your first, huh? Still work to be done. Walty. Big aerial duel. Pass cut away. That one might have gone to the river.
That is Surfside Splashdown number 20 for the season, brought to you by Surfside Vodka.
Colorado Springs trying to build out of the back, and again, Riverhounds with some suffocating pressure. Cross deflected. Not going to fall kindly enough in the end for Dean. Another big aerial challenge, and in a heap this time is Delence Pierre. Both coaches still with one substitute available. And if this result holds for the third consecutive game, Bob Lilly's career win total will stay at 399. .4,300 strong with the Vuvuzelas and the encouragement. Malty gonna chase it down. Big switch from 42. Too much in the end. Speaking to head coach James Chambers earlier this week, he spoke on the importance of breaking Pittsburgh down, building from the back, and we've seen today, Ricky, that first pass has sometimes been a struggle for Colorado Springs. So if they want to get one more goal down the last few minutes here, what do they change in terms of their buildup?
I think they need to be more pragmatic, understanding that there's no need to try to connect passes deeper in your defensive third, especially with the profile that Bob Lilly has brought on. You look at the end, you look at Coronado, Forbes, Sterling, two players that want to run downhill and do it at a very high pace. So understanding now 7+ remaining, we need to regain some real estate higher up the field, understanding that it doesn't need to be pretty, just needs to be effective to get any sort of result here at Highmark, which is very difficult to do.
Allowed to bounce once, but not twice. Far side of the box, that's a wild challenge and an easy decision for Lorenzo Hernandez.
And they do force a turnover. Their first pass needs to be forward into the path of Justin Dillon. How good can the big man be at holding up the play? And set pieces as well. Try to slow the game down, get your big bodies higher up the field. And a player of Jairo Enriquez's quality put this thing into the mixer and cause a little bit of chaos in front of Eric Dick.
Plenty of white shirts to aim at in the box. It's a strong delivery and a strong two-pumped punch. Again, we talked about aggression, an earlier chance when Eric Dick got to the ball first and didn't doubt his decision-making. You need that from a goalkeeper. Hasn't been tested much this season, just 35 saves, 11 clean sheets. Sterling running out of room, just about getting out of it. Eitsu wanted to dribble once again, but the ball always just a little bit too far in front of him. And moving it along to the far side. Overlapping run from Sample into the box, and really difficult ankle to try to cut that one back.
Does all the hard work, continues his run in the 86th minute, tells you about the fitness from Bradley Sample. But just this ball from Coronado Forbes sends him too wide. And like you said, Phil, really difficult to get your hips around it and to pull it away from Christian Herrera.
Pittsburgh dominating possession. 0.93 expected goals for them, 0.38 for Colorado Springs. Bob Lilly told us earlier this week that when you look at the expected stats, Pittsburgh should not only have a lot more goals, but a lot more points. 40 expected points for them this season. They've only got 27.
I think you look at this, the first half especially, the way that you concede a goal comes off of your turnover It's been a bit of the microcosm of the season for the Riverhounds, unable to be clean in both boxes, taking their chances, and just silly mistakes in their defensive third.
Referee will give a yellow card to Coa Santos for taking a little bit too long to dry off the ball to his liking. A Hawaiian, played his college ball on the West Coast of San Diego State. First player from the state of Hawaii to play in the Pac-12. Big throw into the box, nearly fell to the foot of Fieldberg. And the foot of Speedy Williams, sending it high and wide. Pittsburgh wanted to go quickly. They're not going to get the chance to. Is there another goal in this one? 88th minute now from Highmark Stadium. Fieldberg with the fresh legs to get on the end of it. Numbers arriving for him short. 2 players to beat. In the end, goes out for Switchbacks throw. Pat Hogan named to the USL Championship Week 23 Team of the Week. He's warming up as the 5th and final substitute for Coach Bob Lilly. Thrown to the top of the 6. Headed back to the top of the 18. Shot deflected. Falls down for another and another deflection. Kenardo Forbes laying the block. Nice move to open up space. Crossed in towards Fieldberg. Not a powerful header away. Another block shot. Is that an appeal for handball? It's calamitous, and it's cleared for now. A header down in front, and Eric Dick saw it all the way. It was Justin Dillon in his first match for his new club. What a way that would have been to open his account. There's Luke Biasi in the way of that first shot, who wins the foul now.
Substitution for the Riverhounds. Exiting
that 5th and final change for the Riverhounds will be made now. Jackson Walty, the man of the match, presented by Modelo for an excellent strike.
I think he scored the fantastic goal, but it was all what he did off the ball that was really impressive. The ability to cover ground, to clog passing lanes, and then when he was on the ball, just kept the ball moving. He was really coming into his own, Jackson Walty, underneath Bob Lilly and for this Pittsburgh Riverhound side.
Into the 91st minute, still waiting on stoppage time, and it will be a minimum of 5 from Highmark Stadium. Ball played in and headed on! It's 2-1! In dramatic fashion, Sean Suber may have gotten Bob Lilly's 400th career win. $4,300 at Highmark Stadium, go crazy.
Talked about the importance of set pieces. You put the ball into a dangerous area and you tell your center back to go out and get it. Not X and O's, not tactics, just pure willingness and want from Stuber. You versus me. I want it more. I'm gonna out jump you. And it's a snap header over his right shoulder. No chance for Christian Herrera. Off to the court to celebrate. And the Riverhounds take the lead in the 92nd minute.
Second goal of the season for the big man from the back. Speaking to head coach Bob Lilly earlier this week, we asked him who's one player that doesn't get the recognition he deserves. And he said, without a doubt, Sean Subert, someone who is growing very quickly, who worked his way into the starting 11 as the season went on and has only gotten better and better as the season goes on.
I think you can throw Bradley Sample in that conversation as well. Him and Jackson Walty, all of those three players maybe coming into this season were not penciled in as a starter. Had to grind their way into training ground and the weight room. And now you see them coming into their own and understanding their roles within this Riverhound side. Fantastic display of talent between those three.
This would be a massive 3 points for Pittsburgh in the playoff picture, but the job far from done. Jairo Henriquez standing over it. Christian Herrera got a yellow card. Pittsburgh scored from a set piece. They defend one now. Sent all the way up into the high billowing smoke. Headed forward and nearly getting on the end of it was Babacar Dian. If you're head coach Bob Lilly, do you tell everyone just buckle down and get back, or do you still look for a third?
I think you get everyone behind the ball, especially with how important these 3 points are into your playoff hopes. Make life very difficult for the Switchbacks. Every time you get on the ball, how far can you kick it away from your defending goal? That's going to be the highest of priorities for the Riverhounds here.
Worked back into the box, headed down for now. Clearance wasn't provided. Oh my goodness! An incredible stop from Eric Dick. I don't think anyone was expecting a shot there from Matt Real, but uncorks one.
Just too casual from Cornado Forbes. Give credit to Zach Zandy, but this is so instinctual from Matt Real to let this thing drop, to get your laces through it. Forces Eric Dick to make a fantastic save.
95th minute. Forbes first to it. Now Sterling on the end of it. Appeals for a foul not given. And A2 on the charge. The Frenchman has the legs to get there and will bring it to the corner flag. Everybody asking for a foul. The ball worked free. There is still time for Colorado Springs to spoil the party. Second ball won comfortably in midfield, sent right back up. Jonas Fieldberg now, back to goal, gets the nutmeg, but the sliding challenge expertly timed from who else but the goal scorer, Sean Subert. '96th minute now. James Chambers trying to issue some last-minute instruction. Koa Santos preparing for the long throw. Wants someone to check short. Sent in by Williams. Free header at the back post, and it's the equalizer at the death. Delence Pierre completely left on his own and makes no mistake. 2-2 the final at Highmark.
Weak side defending for the Riverhounds has been lacking all match. When this ball gets circulated back across, Speedy Williams has the ability to pull the strings, but there's no presence off the shoulder of Biasi. As the wingback playing underneath James Chambers, you have to be very decisive when you pick and choose. Your time went to join the attack. Back across where it came from in a textbook header. He draws it even yet again in the 97th minute on the road.
The candles were on the cake for Bob Lilly, and on a rainy night in Pittsburgh, it is Delence Pierre that reigns on the parade. his second goal this season. Came off the bench in the match before last, his first appearance in over a month. Is there time for drama? There is not. Honors even in Pennsylvania. The final score, Pittsburgh Riverhounds 2, Colorado Springs Switchbacks 2. Ricky, a chance to catch your breath and some final thoughts.
Fantastic match between the two managers in both clubs. You thought the Colorado Springs Switchbacks were done, didn't have any engine to throw anything forward, but when you have special players like Speedy Williams to put the ball in a dangerous area, Pierre does everything right. And if you're Bob Lilly, you're going to be frustrated. You let 3 points slip to your fingers yet again here at home.
We're going to take a quick break. We've got a lot to talk about on the other side of that break. 2-2 the final in dramatic fashion. Would you have it any other way? We'll see you in a bit.
Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa.
Nice, a little salt, a little sweet.
And a little scratch.
Ah, the new big cash payout.
Top prizes of 500 grand.
You've been down this road before.
Let's just say I'm a road hog. Hey, bud, gotcha.
At AHN, good heart care starts before you're just not feeling right. Before you say, it'll go away on its own. Before it doesn't. Because before an emergency, there's time to stop heart problems with a simple preventative heart check. At AHN, we see you.
We're not the universe's window company. We're not the world's window company. And we're not the nation's window company. Thermo Twin is Pittsburgh's window company.
Pittsburgh is our home. Check in with Thermo Twin. We are employee owned. Check in with Thermo Twin.
Check in now and get 25% off and 36-month interest-free financing.
Check in with Thermo Twin.
A 4-goal thriller split right down the middle. 2-2 between Pittsburgh and Colorado Springs. We are going to take you through the full-time highlights, and there is so much to talk about. Ricky, take it away.
I think it starts in this first half with the Riverhounds just not clean on the ball. And look at Real as he continues his run. That first touch takes out Danny Griffin, and this is just pure will from McGee. He wants to get there before Blackstock goes. Shimano's slow to react as well, but again, starts with a sloppy turnover. As an attacking player, your first touch is everything. How do you create a little bit of space? Eric Dick unable to pair it away from traffic, and McGee says, thank you very much, the Switchbacks. They draw first blood, but you knew that the Riverhounds, especially underneath Bob Lilly, that they were always going to fight back and find a way to make this interesting. You can't give a player like Jackson Walty a second bite at the apple. Just watch how quickly he gets his feet underneath him. That one makes a difference, and he just steps into it. Doesn't need to hit it hard, just let momentum do its thing and get clean contact. Not even a courtesy dive from Herrera, 1-1. But can they get that secondary goal? That was always going to be important for the Riverhounds. Bradley Sample, you put it up and you tell your big man just to go get it. Out muscles Matt Mahoney. Snap the header over his right shoulder. Close in proximity, yet again, nothing that Herrera can do. And you thought the Riverhounds had all 3 points in their back pocket.
An unbelievable sequence of play. The stage was set for win number 400, but this, the save of the game, presented by Smoothie King. A shot from an impossible angle from Matt Real, catching everybody by surprise except Eric Dick, who thought he rose above to secure the 3 points, but in the end, there was one last gasp chance, and Ricky, not much that the goalkeeper could do on this one because it's an unmarked header.
Again, and it's Speedy Williams' ability to put the ball in a dangerous area on a dime with the English on it, and now you're just asking your wingback to come in late. Justin Dillon, he occupies Luke Bialsi. He never sees him. Header back across where it came from. No chance for Eric Dick. 2-2. We split the points.
As for the full-time stats, 15 total shots from Pittsburgh. It's something that echoes their most recent performance, putting 15 shots but only had one on target against San Antonio in that scoreless draw, but it's another draw tonight.
I think it's going to be frustrating for Bob Lilly. Yet you had 15 shots, only 4 on target. You need to be more composed, you need to be more clinical, and you need to be better defensively. Too many times that back line, especially the weak side, was just too spread apart, and you get hurt for it. As for the Switchbacks, fantastic result on the road. You get a point here at Highmark, not easy. So if you're James Chambers, you take this back to the Colorado Springs Switchbacks, and you go again next week.
Colorado Springs into 5th in the West. Pittsburgh still 10th in the East. 2 goals in stoppage time and 2 goals for each team. The final from Highmark Stadium, Riverhounds 2, Switchbacks 2. An unbelievable contest with so much drama, so much intrigue, so much talent on display, and 2 teams with a lot to play for as the rest of the season looms large. For everybody making this broadcast possible, our producer Jonathan Solano, my partner Ricky Lopez-Espin, I've been Phil Galati saying so long and good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.